this will be the Virgo reading for the summer of 2017. My initial video got lost, so this is kind of the bumper video for Virgo for the summer. So I added some extra cards as kind of a thanks for your patience. So I'm actually, in my normal readings, I did the sex for the male side and the romance for the female side. But I'm going to give sex and romance to both. And I'm going to bump up with a blockage card for each. And an overall fortune card for just because. So, Virgos. Start with the feminines. The first card we get is purpose. So a lot of these Virgo females are feeling purpose driven, very much in where they want to be, and if they're not, they're very much on their way to getting that, knowing where they need to be and knowing what they want intrinsically and going after that. So feeling good, action oriented pace for the Virgos in that way. Now the second card they get is strength. So as with Cancer, having strength come from knowing what their purpose is, knowing where they need to be, building that inner core of where they need to come from. The next card they get is pleasure. So I'm feeling like, because of all of these interlocking pieces, you know, when you finish a puzzle, right, and it's all complete, there's a pleasure you get from that. It's done. It's kind of like that. It's almost like there's a lot of the inner workings that these Virgos have done, and they're really on the completion phase of it. So the pleasure now is going to start to come more intrinsically to them. They're not going to feel that itch of, what do I need to do here? What do I have to get done? Because it's all been done, and now they're just going to be on the fruits of it, right? Plucking things from here and there because they know they've done the work, the hard stuff is over and done with. So they're feeling the pleasure of that right from the beginning of the summer here. So that's good. The next card I get is contentment. Now contentment is the pregnancy card of these goddess and sirens deck. So be aware of that. But also I feel right next to their purpose, they may be in a situation where you may have some of these Virgo females having a baby and also starting a career. They may be joining those two together and saying, you know what, I'm not going to let anything stop me. I am going in this direction, and that is it. And not that a baby would stop you, but some people, it may put them in a place for pause, right? So knowing their purpose and maybe even extending a family somewhat and feeling driven, very driven, strong, stable force within these Virgo females, feeling that strongly. So contentment, and then having that be, you know, if you're having a pregnancy, there's a lot of knowledge here, knowing, yes, we're planning, yes, it's in the mix, yes. So no surprises in that way. So very good. The next card for Virgo females is play. So right here is next to pleasure. That's awesome. Because when you have pleasure and you have play, that's the joy, the excitement, the bliss that all comes from that. And I mean contentment here, right? So we may have had some play that got them into a zone where they had little babies run around. So knowing that that is coming from a lighthearted side, a lighter sense of who they are and what they want, it all fits into the mix quite well. I mean, there's just a lot of what is going on with these Virgos. There's no surprises. Everything's planned, and it's all balancing out quite well. It's nice. The last card that we end at is plenty. So with all of this going on, and I feel like Virgos, they're just taking everything on. I mean, whether it's career, family, life, it's all there and it's all working. And they're, I mean, again, balancing everything to a degree. They're just handling it. It's just in the flow. It's just all good. So the Virgo females are very, very much in their power, very much in their strength. They have plenty of stuff coming at them. There's contentment and play. It's all balanced and really inclusive. Everything is in there. It's all inclusive. Everything's included. It's all balanced out. And this is the way it's supposed to be done. So the Virgo females really have it cased for the summer. It's all great. It's all gravy. They're on their road doing their thing and enjoying and not leaving the pleasure or play out of things, which is really good. Because sometimes you can have that more business end coming at you, and it's really, really in a good mode. So that's good. Awesome for the females. Now, amping up the readings here, so I'm going to turn to the romance cards. First romance card I get is physical touch is important. Physical touch is important. For some of us, nothing is more important than a tender touch. This might include a pat on the back or giving a hug to someone who needs it. So you may have in your romance sector a little bit of coolness going on, like a little bit of not paying attention to the small things like touching your partner on the way by, you know, or just connecting physically with them. So keep in mind if physical touch is important when it comes to your partner. You want to be able to show that. They're feeling a little bit of lack there, a little bit of lack. And I think that just needs to be expressed. The next card I get is ask for help. What is it you really need help with? Be willing to allow yourself the support you need. So go outwards. Ask for whatever you need. I feel these Virgos are very much in a place where they can do that. They are on that mode. So it's not going to be outside of themselves to ask for help. They just need to do it. And I think that they will, maybe not in all areas, but especially in the love and romance. Ask for help from your partner. I think it may be harder in that area than outward in a business sense. You can absolutely go out and ask for what you need and get it. And you know, but when it comes to love and romance, there's a side here where it's kind of like you feel you need to back off a little. So ask for help if you need it in the love and romance area. The next card we get to know each other. Learning to meet each other's need for love is important for the relationship to grow. So get to know each other. I feel like that's a funny card when you have a relationship, but yet it's very poignant to connect, right? Because I think in this day and age when we're buzzing and from work, and especially with these Virgos, if they got babies to worry about and work, and there is really no time for the relationship. You got to filter that in. And even though we got a good puzzle piece here, we got a good framework to work from, we might have to really kind of sit down and check in with the partner every once in a while. Make sure that they are still in the game, still in there. What are you doing? What's going on with you? Yeah, I know you're busy, and I feel like there's a very understanding partner for these Virgo females. I feel like they're very much, yeah, okay, you're not going to get any surprises there. So it's just maybe taking a little more time out of your schedule. It is busy, but just taking that moment, touch your partner, say, hey, how you doing today? Good, okay, and then carry on. And that's all it takes to kind of revive them back into the relationship. Not that they're out, but feeling a little bit lonely in that way. Just a light feeling of that. I feel like overall there's a good energy here for the coupled Virgo females. I feel they're very much in the flow of things and very solid and a good kind of stable relationship in that way. So the singles, what am I getting for singles? You may have some instances where you are getting to know someone else and dating, going out on the dating scene. So beware, flirt physically and ask for help from others, maybe go out and date friends of friends. Sometimes that works out, and you have a longer term relationship that way. And then get to know each other. Just be open and free with whatever you have in that way. And be mindful of going outward with physical affection. So now for the sex side of things for the Virgo female. The first card I get is the Wheel. So the Wheel really symbolizes things of change, right? And we have these women, they're in kind of different modes of sexual undress, I was going to say, because one of them's kind of clothed, just taking her shoulder off. One's completely naked, and the other one's kind of in between. So really showing in the bedroom that you have multiple sides to you. You have many ways that you can accommodate the physical side of things, and I think that's very apparent in the relationship area with your partner. Knows that and is comforted by that. So know that that is a strength of yours, is to kind of fit in and mold, and you have the variety that you need to gain momentum and keep it there. So that's good. Strong, sturdy card. The next card I get is the Six of Wands. Again, going out and getting what you want. So with this ask for help card, I feel like you have no problems in that way in the bedroom of going and getting what you want. Maybe on the softer edge of romance, you have to tune into that more. But the physical side of things, you're very much, yeah, I want this and I want that. And your partner, I think, is very open to suggestion in that way and understands. And I mean, there's a very good groovy energy there. Now, the last card you get is the Death card. And it's interesting because we have the Wheel of Fortune and the going out and getting what you want, and then something needs to be cut away. So we may have a situation where there's a good relationship that needs to end. We may have a situation where there's a good relationship that something needs to be taken out of. I don't get a sense heavily for what that is, but you may be on the side where if you are asking for help in some major ways, like we're talking, this is sex side here. So it may be just a situation where if you have a baby coming into the mix, there's going to be a little while here where there's not going to be a lot of sex going on. And I feel that's more the case here, where we have, you know, these Virgo females more in an area of being driven, and maybe the sex side of things is something that they have to kind of clip out. They have to clip out for a while. It's not going to be forever. They just have to clip it out for a while and get things into gear, and then there'll be times when they can dig back into that. So I feel like that's kind of a death to the actual physical sex, because we've got good stuff here on all fronts. So you can't just have an ending when there's no sign of it anywhere else. But really what it is maybe an ending to the physical side of things. It's just going to be a lot of exhaustion and maybe tiredness, or just not feeling in the moment. And the partner, and I feel like it's not like the partner really wants and this one's cutting out. I feel like they're both tired. They're both got, so it's kind of a phase where there's a little bit of not so much sex in the bedroom. But if they want it, they'll go out and get it. That's kind of the feeling I get for both partners here, like the male and female partner. I feel like they are the type that will go out and get what they want. So the ending is usually just right now. I got my priorities. I got to balance them out, and this is the thing that's kind of got to go for the summer. So it just may be that you're a little bit busy, and there's an end to the sex. So don't worry too much. It'll get back in gear when school time starts, that kind of thing. When the kids get back to school and everything starts to slow down in the fall, that'll come back. So not a huge big deal, I don't think. So anyway, the next card I have is really for these Virgos to figure out where their obstacles may lay. For the females, the card I picked for you is surrender the idea you can fix someone. So you may be hovering over a situation where you're trying to kind of tweak a friendship, someone outside of you, outside of your home, that you're really trying to, you're kind of not obsessing about, but really paying attention to and going, okay, I need to help you here. You're seeing the deficits this person has, wanting to fill it in. So you might have to surrender the idea you can fix them. It's time for a relationship to shift. It doesn't work to try to fix someone. Each person must be accountable for his or her own healing. So a situation where you're kind of trying to help someone, but it may be doing more to hinder than actual help. So be aware of that. That's kind of a block in an area where you're kind of over focusing. So If that is the case, take it into account. That is a block for you. So in order to alleviate, you just surrender that you can fix them. You can't fix them. They have to fix themselves. That's basically what it is. Now I did an overall fortune card. The dragonfly is what came up for the Virgo females. It says, have confidence during this time of great joy, renewal, and connection to spirit. And it makes me think, if you're going through pregnancy or birthing, all of that new energy, that new fabulous time, it just feels like you just opened a present, right? So that time, just connect to all of that. Let the spirit connect to you. Enjoy the time. Have the joy. And feel all the great connections over the summer. I feel like for these female Virgos, there is a sense of kind of releasing. So I think for the majority of you, you work through the year and you may have time to relax in the summer. And if that's the case, just dive into it. Just soak that up. Really good, strong, steady, earthy, grounded energy from these females. Really being where they need to be and not one minute second behind or ahead of the game. They're right on task, right where they need to be, doing what they need to do, and not only that, be doing it efficiently. So they're all in the flow and leading the pace, really. Very good energy. Very good energy. So for the Virgo females, awesome. Now for the males, I move over, and of course my deck, I didn't misplaced it, whatever. The universe does mysterious things to get you to do things. So basically took my deck away. I can't find it. The first card I get is the Eight of Wands. Now the Eight of Wands is really about trajectory, speed, things coming at you fast, things going at a fast pace. Travel could include travel. And if it's travel, it'd be overseas, that kind of thing. It's interesting. The next card is the Chariot. So symbolizing, yes, absolutely, travel, short and long distance. We could have overseas visits, big trips to distant countries, that kind of thing. So highlighting that. Chariot is also a symbol of Cancer. So you may have a Cancer person in your midst that you're dealing with. That is right down the middle here, and it's interesting. I will expand later how the Chariot fits with the end card, but I'll move on. The Six of Cups is in the corner here, and the Six of Cups is really kind of daydreaming and wishing and hoping, and so a lot of being in your head about things. I don't get a sense if it's good or bad. It's just a lot of stuff moving around in there. Just kind of being not kind of as grounded as those Virgo males are. Just really kind of spacey. So taking a lot of time to think things over in your head to the point where you're kind of excluding yourself from the moment and being grounded in the now. So that's kind of off center. So there may also be dreams of a trip that you're planning that will come true for the summer. So just know that it may be, I mean, it's the beginning process now. You may be just dreaming, oh, I wish I could do this, and then actually manifest to be able to do exactly what it is you were dreaming about. So that's another option there for this card. The next card I get is the Five of Swords. So this is really the kind of fight to defend card. Struggling. There's a flag there, and it's like, it's almost, you get the interpretation here that this guy's overtaken that. That's his flag. That's, and then there's someone laying there. So really struggle and strife and a lot of overcoming obstacles in a physical strength oriented kind of way, and it's all outside of you. These swords are things you can grab and hold on to. So these are things outside of you that you're really attacking and bringing forth. Having a sense of victory, but not without a lot of strife. Not without a lot that has had to happen through this. So a darker energy there, but nonetheless overcoming. The next card I get is the Three of Wands. So The Three of Wands is basically that feeling. I mean, he's looking out over the sunset, waiting for a ship. So there's something you're working on. You may even be struggling with to see the fruits come in. You know, you're waiting for stuff to happen, and it's just at this point not really happening. But we have a, you know, the Chariot here, so things are going to start moving for you in that way that you've been kind of waiting and waiting and waiting. Because I get a sense here of waiting, not just a little bit here, you know, not just your time. It's like months and years, and, you know, so you're waiting, and the struggle till you get to this is, it's starting to tromp forward, starting to move ahead. So now the end card we get is the Ace of Swords, which is really the victory, the ultimate victory. I mean, Ace is swords. Swords is, you know, thoughts, ideas, things that can manifest. But I get within this reading, I get this is absolute success attained. You got what you needed. You've been looking toward it. If we go down this way, we get the Eight of Wands, which is quick, fast, hurried pace. The Five of Swords, struggle. And then the Ace of Swords, which is victory and attainment. Success after a struggle, you know, and also the fast pace that it seems to be. It's almost like there's a fast pace that's been interrupted for struggle, and yet victory is attained. On this side, we get a lot of daydreaming and waiting for things to happen, but victory nonetheless. And right down the center, we have the Chariot and the Ace of Swords. So there's success and things moving forward, traveling, that, you know, all of this stuff. We have this trine of, you know, fight, wait, and movement. It's almost like it could be a little bit of a kerfuffle there with the energies, because they're very, you know, like fight, wait, movement, you know. So, but there's more on the side of movement and fighting for than there is waiting. So the waiting is kind of moving downward, and we've got the victory coming in. So it's all good. Whatever area that you're coming from, it's a good, it's going to end up in a good way, though it's going to seem like quite a struggle. In the meantime, over the summer, there's going to be a little bit of struggling going on, but nonetheless, your ships will come in, and victory will be. I kind of want to punch more cards, but we'll leave it at that, because the fall, I think, will herald new beginning. Not new beginnings, but that thing. You're waiting for that thing to come in. It's going to be in the fall. I feel there's going to be a lot of new stuff coming. So very good energy. For the love and romance side of things for the Virgo male, we've got the first card is slow down. When you're excited, you get ahead of yourself. Take some time to allow things to unfold. I feel like the Virgo male really doesn't let things get too out of hand. So if you have to slow down, I think it's maybe just your mind, if anything, because I don't think you're going really outward with it. I think it's just maybe a slowing down of the mind in that way to keep things, you know, you got a lot of stuff going through there that you're really kind of thinking about. So just slow that down to a decent pace, and I think you'll get further. Turn on your heart light. Allow yourself in the moment to reflect on the time when you experienced love. So you may be having a lot come at you, all these struggles and strife that's going on and flitting here and there. You may have to really kind of tune into love. You may be putting love aside, romance, the softer side of thing, kind of been not diving into that. So turn that back on and realize where you need to be there. The next card I get for the romance is spend some quality time together. It is imperative that we spend quality time with those we are in significant relationships with, listening and talking to each other. That's a cute card. So it shows a couple here joined, you know, over the moon, nice moon and beautiful scenery, you know. So just, yeah, I think it's those moments where you need to slow down and take things inward in the romance area. Maybe just kind of, I don't see it as being an extreme for these Virgo males. I feel like they're just kind of maybe getting into the swing of things to a point where they're needing to dive back in there and spend a little more time in that area. So be aware of that. I don't feel it's to excessive degree either. I just feel it's like, yeah, I could turn back in now, that kind of thing. So for the sex side of things, the first card we get is the Seven of Pentacles. So the Seven of Pentacles signifies, excuse me, my nose is stuffed right up. It's flu season. But anyway, Seven of Pentacles signifies a romantic relationship, a sexual relationship. We're into the sex here. And having a tie that has been broken. Now, these two are together, yet there's no tie. So it could be a situation where you are in a relationship, but there's not necessarily a karmic tie there. But yet, nonetheless, both of the same area. And I don't feel, because sometimes you can get a negative connotation, but I'll continue on. Because the next card you get is the Three of Wands, which kind of is interesting. We have a no tie and then ties. So we're contradicting. I don't know what that means. Basically, I think that whether you're tied or not tied, I think the romance feels like you are tied. I think there may not be a karmic tie between you and your partner, but you have grown to give it everything that you guys have to the point where you feel like you're tied to it, or are making a tie in this lifetime. There's a new thing that just came through. So you may be in a situation where you have a partner that you have not been tied to in your past lives, but you may be in this life making a connection to go to the next life with. So in that way, that's an interesting little connection there. Interesting. Yeah, nonetheless, never had that happen before. So just basically a situation where you are really amping up the union that you are in, to a degree that it feels like a karmic tie. So really going beyond your resources to really dive into that area. It's really nice, balance, beautiful energy. And I don't know how to explain that other than. So the next card I get, which is interesting, is the Seven of Swords. The communication is not there. They're able to be physical. They have been physical before. And they will be physical again. It's just there's some communication missing in the bedroom in order to feel more intimate. So it may be a little bit of back and forth for the Virgo males. They're kind of feeling very into it and then kind of not checking out, but feeling where they're just not communicating. They're kind of just walling up a little bit. So it's the communication is the key here. They're just showing me that sword like 3D. They just need to communicate a little more and get things back on track, because it's there for them. They are very connected in that way, but it just feels like a disconnect, to the point where it kind of feels like a disconnect. And it may be this deep dreaminess, this airiness that is coming through here with the Six of Cups. Is kind of like, that's kind of disconnecting. So that is the sex side of things. Now, I picked a surrender card, and that's interesting. The surrender card that the Virgo males get is surrender to passion. Get out of your head and feel the fire in your belly. Focus on the people or activities that ignite you with passion and let it flow. So that's basically amping up everything. It's just your problem here is you're too much in your head and not in the physical world. And for Virgos, it's very unlike them to do that. So this is really something that's kind of tripping them up a little bit and making them think of things. And but really just being in their head to a degree that they're not in the world that they're living. They're just not there. They're just all over the place. So get out of your head. Focus on the people or activities that are around you, and that will get you forward. Past your block. That is a block for you. Now, the next card, I got a fortune card, is called Flowers. Now, for an overall, just to amp up the end here. And I came up with flowers for the Virgo male. Be generous, success, and emotional fulfillment are yours. So basically, in love, it really shows that tender side of things, the connection. And if it was more on the passion side, it's more on the pink. So I get a sense that it's like just the softer things, because when you get into your life and your work and your routine, right? That routine can be absolutely debilitating to a relationship. So I feel like that's what's going on, is they're in the routine and they need the summer. And I feel like the summer is going to refresh some things for you. The possibilities are there to do that. And I feel like the travel, you know, that's going to be the time. And I feel like they'll kick in. It's just that softer edge of things. The more romantic side, I think, is really what is needed here. The passion needs to be there, but I feel like you have to pay attention to the friendliness and the more softer things, the gentleness. That is key to what is kind of missing. I think we're just doing what duty and not getting in with the softer side. So I think that's, and for career, that just really sparks the whole, the flowers ignite, right? They grow, they bloom, that's the fruit. So again, career sector, you know, nothing but success there, and in a very blooming way, if I can make that analogy, but also in the romance sector to, you know, to blossom there as well. So that energy, just keep that, stay out of your head and get back in the game and you're good. I don't think you got out of the game. I think you just get lost in your head a little bit and it's kind of throwing you off a little bit in the personal side of things. So hopefully that gets back on track for you. So that is the female, masculine, feminine reading for 2017. Sorry guys, I was late, but lost cards, lost videos, lost clips, like I went to download them and suddenly they were not even on the computer. This is what happened to these last two readings. So whatever, I just go with it. So I'm glad that I got it out, and obviously there was something in here that needed to come out more than the last reading. So hopefully that gets through. So in the meantime, have a great summer. If you're traveling, take care and be safe and be kind.